Thank you so much for the kind introductions. Thank you, JLF, for inviting both Mani and I. And we will go straight into the session because we have limited time. I'm delighted to be here with Mani, also because this is actually a session for people of faith and belief, and Mani is a brilliant scholar on that. Mani, tell us, what is the Saundarya Lahari? Why is it that people don't know about the text? That's very, very important. And tell us something about it.
Thank you, Alka. Really a brilliant opening question, I believe, for the Times. I have made a little name card with the cover of the book, and sometimes when I give it to people, they then address me back saying, "Hello, Saundarya," And I have to tell them, no. Saundarya Lahari is the name of a work, and my name is Mani Rao, That is so much of the darkness in which this work exists. And I think that the reason why people don't know about it is the dominance and the domination of the Gita, the Veda, and the Upanishads. Those are talked about a lot. And there is such a kind of mist regarding anything to do with Tantra, right? But on the other hand, Mother Goddess is very respected in India. Lots of people do Chandi Parayana, they do Durga Saptashati, etc. But Saundarya Lahari itself is a work that can take you deeper and give you that connection to Shakti. And because over the centuries, there has been like a crust of prayogas associated with it. There are 100 shlokas in it. It is a poem. It is a metrical feat. It's a brilliant poem in Shikharini meter. Some versions have 103 verses. It is a poem in praise of Shakti, but also it puts forth a cosmic system where basically Shakti is the boss. Shakti is supreme, she is absolute, and she is also Brahman. She is the material and the efficient cause, as we say. So it presents her supremacy and her relationship to all the other devtas. It talks about the sun and moon as her breasts. The universe, with the opening and closing of her eyes, the universe is either created or annihilated. So everything is presented through her. This is actually not a new concept. Even in the Upanishads, that in Kenopanishad, you have the mysterious Uma Haimavati. There has always been the presence of the feminine in a sort of mysterious way, even in Vedantic thought. And Saundarya Lahari actually gives a whole description of the physical form of the goddess from head to toe, which becomes a methodology for us to meditate upon her. It describes the Shri Yantra, the Shri Chakra with the interlocking triangles. It describes the chakras and the rise of the Kundalini as it goes up to merge with the Sahasrara. So these are all the concepts that are actually present in the Saundarya Lahari. And I am starting to say Lahari along with others. It is so misunderstood, but it is a really beautiful work that can actually open up some of the vibrance within our own body and our own connection to Shakti. And I believe that in my translation, I've tried to capture some of the vibrance of those syllables because it is a mantra. Many of the shlokas are considered mantras, potent for whether it's poetic powers or, lovers or good health or whatever. These are legendary effects of some of the mantras. So that is Saundarya Lahari.
Do you think it is very esoteric, and is that the reason why many people, as you mentioned, people know about the Gita, people know about the epics? So this particular text, is it because it is very specialized, it's very, specific to a form of Shaktism, which was Tantra? Is that one of the reasons, perhaps?
the specific form of Shakti in this is Lalita Tripura Sundari. In fact, now increasingly I find that a lot of people are learning Saundarya Lahari. Those who are doing, especially those who are taking Sri Vidya initiation, those who do pujas and upasana for the Meru, they are the people who are learning it. But because, you know, traditionally mantras in our culture have been known for their phonetic effects, the Shabda Bhava, you know, and not so much for the meaning. Meaning has been considered incidental. But in my experience, and probably in many people's experience, when you study something, especially a poem or you use words that have meanings, if you know the meaning, you can remember it better. And the sankalpa comes, the bhava happens more easily. The emotive value is higher. You're able to arrive at an emotive state better. It is actually not esoteric in itself because it's very easy to understand. Once you read it, you get the concepts. It's completely enjoyable. You know, Shankara wrote it.
So I'm going to interrupt you there and
Okay.
ask you, tell us who is Shankara, the Advait monk who wrote this, and why did he write this?
Well, the Saundarya Lahari is attributed to Shankara. No matter what commentary you read, and actually, you know, it is a measure of the importance of Saundarya Lahari in our heritage that there are more than 35 bhashyas on it. There are more than 35 commentaries on it, and that itself should tell you how critical its role was and how now it has been obscured. Now, attributed to Shankara, in the sense every commentary says Srimad Shankara Bhagavad Pada Virachita. So, but there's no way to prove that, right? And there are one or two things, the reason why people usually ask this kind of question. One is this, the idea or the connotation is, well, he was a celibate monk. Why did he write this about goddess describing her physical form? And the second question is, well, he was a Vedantin. He was, Advaita person, and what's he doing with Tantra? But if you look at temples, a lot of temples that have the Meru, that have the Sri Chakra, they're all attributed to being established by Shankara, you know. And, I mean, if only Shankara was here to answer that question, why did he compose this? There are more than 300 works attributed to him. I think I don't see any contradiction in the attribution of the composition of this hymn to him because, you know, even in the Saundarya Lahari, it says, Shrutinam Murdhanah, you know, that the feet of Devi, Upanishads are holding it on their head. You know, Tavacharanau, your feet are placed on the head of Shruti, you know, and maybe he graduated from Vedanta to Tantra, I don't know. But certainly I think in my own sadhana also, you know, I translated the Gita 10 years ago and now I am completely immersed in Tantra. And ultimately you come to Mother Goddess, you know. Maybe I can only imagine that he must have had a darshan of Shakti and burst into an ecstatic inspired and revealed poem.
So
yeah.
I'd like you to actually read, and I've heard you in Bangalore. I'd like you to at least, you know, sing one of the verses for people to understand your immersion in the Saundarya Lahari.
Thank you so much. I must warn you that I am not a singer, but so I will say a couple of verses and then I will attempt a melody just so that you know how it is usually sung. And I know we have 5 more minutes, so we are okay. So this is verse number 98 in my book. Since we were talking about feet, you know, feet are a source of energy. When it is the Guru's feet, when it is your Ishta Devata's feet. Here, the poet says, Kada kale matah kathaya kalita lakta karasam, pibeyam vidyarthi tavacharana nirnejana jalam, प्रकृत्या मूकानामपि च कविता कारणतया kada dhatte vani mukha kamalataamboolarasataam. A translation. O mother, say when may I, seeker of knowledge, drink the lac-mixed water that washed your feet? Like the juice of chewed betel from Goddess Saraswati's lotus mouth that turns even born mutes into composers of poetry. And this is the other verse that I mentioned about the Upanishads. Shrutinam murdhano dadhati tavayau shekharataya mamapyetau matah shirasidayaya dhehi charanau yayopadyam pathah pashupati jatajuta tatini yayor laksha lakshmi raruna harichudamani ruchihi. O mother, your feet that the Upanishads wear for a crown, that the river Ganga in Shiva's matted hair washes, whose radiant red lac is Vishnu's crimson crest jewel, be so kind, place them on my head too. And this is the other verse that I mentioned about how the world is created and annihilated by her opening and closing of her eyes. I'm going to attempt a melody here. Please okay? Do. Nimeshonmeshabhyam pralayamudayam yati jagati tavetyahu santo dharanidhara rajanyatanaye त्वदुन्मेषाज्जातं जगदिदमशेषं प्रलयतः परित्रातुं शङ्के परिहृतनिमेषास्तव दृशः. O daughter of the king of mountains, sages say the world ends and begins with the closing and opening of your eyes. But I suspect your eyes gave up blinking to save this whole world from annihilation, this world that was created by opening your eyes. Alka, I'd like one more verse because something about your question I want to explain through this verse. This is the second verse that talks about the dust from her feet, which the gods carry on their heads. Taniyam sampamsum tavacharana pankeruha bhavam virinchis sanchinvan virachayati lokana vikalam vahatyenam shaurih kathamapi sahasrena shirasam harasangshuddhyainam bhajati bhasitodhulana vidhim. So now, very interestingly, it talks about, obviously, her feet are not feet, they are lotuses. This is Sanskrit convention, right? So what is the dust of the feet? When you have lotuses, the dust is pollen, right? So it's a very, very interesting leap from there. So here's my translation that sort of tries to bring that out. Even a fleck of a speck, this is taniyam sampamsum. Even a fleck of a speck of dust from your feet, pollen dust from your lotus feet. Brahma gathers it, creates worlds with it. In spite of 1,000 heads, Vishnu barely bears it. Shiva crushes it, sprinkles it all over like a holy ash ritual.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And do we have another minute? Because then, no? Because I would have wanted her to talk about Lalita Tripura Sundari, but it's okay. Yeah. I think we can leave the audience wanting to know more, because she has beautifully expressed the whole concept. But thank you very much, Mani.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for putting your translations into melody, because it's wonderful to hear. Shruti is so important as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.